Sana, I am all for social media and how inspirational it can be to some of us, but comparing myself to the lives of Instagram baddies or people that live a certain lifestyle on Instagram is definitely where I draw the line. Today's topic is very reminiscent of the saying that comparison is the thief of joy. Imagine scrolling through your Instagram and you're comparing yourself to the lives of people you have no idea as to how they make their money to live the life that they live, or you have no idea how they come to afford what they can afford. And you're there miserable and unhappy and sad because you feel like you have not accomplished enough in life. Yeah, well, don't buy into that hype. I am here to tell you that you're doing just fine. And if anything, keep going because absolutely nothing is happening out there that you're missing out on. Everything that is meant to happen in your life is happening at a good pace and is happening at God's pace. That is for sure. Hi, tubers, and a very warm welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, like, share, but most importantly, leave your comment on the comment section right below. Now, tubers, the story that I wanted to bring forth today is actually, I think it's quite a number of stories all wrapped in one. I'll try to break it down as easier as I possibly can, right? So I think about a week or two ago, Sayan Buji, one of the biggest influencers to ever come out of South Africa, announced that she had bought herself a 10 million rand house in Midstream. And if you live in Joburg, you know that Midstream is luxury. Like we are talking high end, very expensive type of living. I mean, yeah, you're thinking of your sentence, but if you live in the heart of Joburg, you would know that getting a place to stay in Midstream is it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Midstream is not one of those places where you just could easily get a place to stay in because it's very expensive, right? So when she announced this, a lot of people were very skeptical on social media. A lot of people questioned, how can a DJ slash influencer managed to buy herself a 10 million rand house, not in anywhere else in Joburg, but in Midstream? Well, we know of the type of gigs that Sayan does as a DJ. We know of the gig that Sayan does as a YouTuber and also as an influencer on social media. But is all that money enough to afford Sayan Buji a 10 million rand house in Midstream? That was everybody's question, right? That was what everybody was asking on social media. And at first I thought to myself, yeah, it's very much possible. Sayan gigs quite a lot, right? A lot of people actually, they do book Sayan for gigs as a DJ. She does what she does and she does put some work into it. I mean, Sayan's work ethic is quite interesting to watch for someone her age. I mean, considering the fact that Sayan is not over 27 years. She's definitely younger than that. I mean, considering the fact that she's younger than 27 and she gets all these gigs. But another thing I like about Sayan has been very transparent with her life. You know, unlike most influencers, Sayan is very upfront and very open about how she makes her money outside of her gigs, outside of her YouTubing, and outside of her Instagram, your TikToks and whatnot. Of course, she does get those brands, you know, here and there. But you know what I've come to notice about, I've come to notice about a lot of our influencers. There isn't a lot of money coming from brand deals anymore. You don't see a lot of these influencers associating or affiliating themselves with these brand deals. But Sayan has definitely been transparent about that side of her life. She has been outspoken about how she dates certain guys of certain influence to get the money that she makes. So when everybody started questioning this, at first I was like, come on, Sayan works hard. I mean, her work ethic speaks for itself. She makes quite a good number of money. She makes quite a good number of gigs to be able to buy certain things for herself. But when the story broke about 3-4 days ago that this guy, right? This guy who happens to be Sayan's Buji, apparently, who happens to be Sayan's Buji's blesser, was actually the guy responsible for buying this house for Sayan in Midstream. And this guy has not only been affiliated with Sayan, but apparently this guy has also dated your Sitelo Shozis, your Mahus of this world. And these two people that I've mentioned besides Sayan are also very big South African influencers in South Africa that also get to live a luxurious life off of dating men of a certain influence. Which then brings me to my point that we've spoken about this before in one of my old videos, that these girls sell pum pum for a living. And we've established that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, if it puts food on the table, if it's enough money to get your mother a house, a car, and to be able to send the kids to school, I have no idea how else we feature into this. I mean, if these people are able to live by off of dating men of a certain influence to live the life that they want to live, then that's how they've decided to live their lives. I mean, that's the choice that they have made for themselves. And who are we to tell them how they should live their lives and what they should do with what they have? The problem with me starts when young women start looking up to women like this and think that they also need to do the very same thing to be able to attain a certain lifestyle. That's when it now becomes an issue for me, because a few days after she announced that she had bought herself, and I use that term very loosely. After she had announced that she had bought herself the 10 million rand house, she then came onto social media and announced that her bank accounts have been frozen and that banks have been questioning. There's been a questionable amount of money in her bank account, and therefore leading up to her accounts being frozen. And then, just as we were trying to catch up to that, because already a lot of people were suspicious about how she could have afforded a 10 million rand house off of her DJing gigs and just being an influencer. Now, when she announced that her bank accounts have been frozen, we then hear that this guy right here got arrested, right, for some fraud of some sort. And then a lot of these baddies started deactivating their social media account, which then led to people on social media to connect the dots that, okay, this is what's happening. The guy is then being arrested, and next thing we know, baddies are deactivating their social media. And it just became clear to everyone what was happening. I think what my generation is not, or rather the generation after me, that is not aware of, is that social media is a very dangerous playground. I mean, imagine going on social media to announce that you've bought yourself a 10 million rand house. Next thing you know, your bank accounts are being frozen. Next thing you know, you have to deactivate the one thing that you make your living off of, which is your social media platforms, because that's exactly what happened with Cyan. A few days after announcing that her bank accounts have been frozen, and then this guy gets arrested, next thing you know, Cyan is deactivating her social media accounts. It all just becomes very mind-boggling for me. I become very worried for women younger than Cyan that are looking up to Cyan. And there's absolutely nothing wrong to want to aspire to live a certain lifestyle. But I think the younger generation needs to be careful as to how they go about this, because it has become a thing of, you can tell and you can see that people are willing to do just about anything to live a certain lifestyle. Everyone wants to see themselves drive a certain car. Everyone wants to see themselves live a certain lifestyle, living in some sort of a mansion or some sort of an apartment, a fancy one in Sandton, in Waterfall, you name it. All of these luxurious places in South Africa or in Joburg. A lot of these girls, you can see they are going to do just about anything it takes to maintain a certain lifestyle. And that concerns me so much, because not all that not all that gold not all that, what do they say? Not all that gold is glitz, you know? I mean, not all that we see on social media is what it really looks like. A lot of people are very good at portraying a certain lifestyle on social media, when in reality, things are completely different. A lot of these girls that we see drive very beautiful, luxurious cars, live in beautiful mansions and apartments. Very few of them work hard for what they have. But a lot of them, like your Cyan bougies that have been very open and transparent about how they make their money, they are a cautionary tale to say, be careful of what you announce on social media. You can't just run to social media for every single thing. It has made sense to me at some points, because Cyan Bougie is an influencer. And as an influencer, people sometimes kind of get entitled to you as a personality. They want to know every single thing about your life because you've made people accustomed to that. When you do your get readies with me, when you do your vlogs and you let us into your life, especially the same way that Cyan has. Cyan has been very transparent about a lot of things when it comes to her vlogs. She has told people way deeper stuff. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't religiously watch Cyan Buji's vlogs, but I've seen clips, I've seen bits and pieces of what Cyan puts out there. And Cyan has been very transparent about how she makes her money, about the kind of men that she sleeps with, and how they are able to help her sustain this, type of lifestyle that she's managed to live all this time. I just wish that for a lot of people this could be a cautionary tale, because a lot of young girls, they look up to these women. They aspire to live like them without knowing the consequences or the repercussions of living this kind of life. All that gold is not glitter. All that glitter is not gold, whatever they say. But all I'm trying to say is be careful what you put out there. Social media can either work in your favor or against you. I mean, we know obviously that Cyan is going to come out of this. I mean, it's Cyan Buji we're talking about. She's definitely going to manage to pull herself out of this. But for everyone else, it might not be as easy. I mean, we know what's currently happening in South Africa right now. A lot of these influential men that have all these monies to be able to sustain the lives of these baddies, they are being put under a microscope and they are being arrested for certain fraudulent activities that they partake in. And surely you don't want to be caught up in that mess as a woman. Yes, get your money. Yes, get your bag. We are so for that. But also be very careful with how you go about that. I just wish people could actually learn that social media is social media is a great weapon to make yourself money or to put yourself out there. This we know. But social media can also work against your favor if you're not careful with what you put out there. This is a message to all the young girls that aspire to live like this. It's perfectly fine to want that life. We all want a certain life for ourselves. But be very careful with how you use social media to gain some sort of influence for yourself, because it might or might not work into your favor. Thank you so much, Tubers, for tuning into again another one of my videos. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment on the comment section right below. See you on the next one.